Poke. We have to be recording. If you look at the front of your packet, said this one packet here is going to run us just about to midterm. Just about. I'm not 100% sure, but around there, especially being every other day. On the front of it, you see there's a bunch of blanks where it says lesson. Every day that we have a lesson, whatever that lesson title was, I want you writing it in there, because as we finish sections, when you turn this whole big packet in, just when we finish it, you just toss it on the counter and I'll go through it at some point. I'm going to go in and fill those 3 boxes next to it. I'm going to check and see, did you actually follow along in class and you filled in all the notes? Did you do the assignment part of it? Remember, the assignment part of it is done in class. So I'm just making sure you did what you were supposed to. And then after we finish every section, there's going to be a daily check, daily quiz, whatever you want to call it. It's just a C-level, middle of the road. Hey, can you do the stuff that we did? All right, do it. That's it. And you'll score it yourself, and I'll just write it down on the front. But I will need you to put the lesson titles on there so that I know what goes where. And the reason they're blank right now instead of written out ahead of time is because we don't have to follow a schedule. We don't have to do a certain thing. Don't write that because that was the first hour. We don't have to follow a set schedule of do these things at these times in these days, finish or else die. We don't have to do that. So that's why they're blank, is because I don't know how far we're going to get any given day. There's things that might have taken us 2 or 3 days last semester that you all knock out in less than 1 class. There's stuff that took us 1 class last year, might take you 2 days this year. And that's the nice part about this class, is we don't have to fit a very specific paradigm. We're just going to do stuff until you get it and then move on. Okay? My goal is to make sure that you understand the bare bones of what you need to either do a AccuPlacer, to go into a tech school, or to just get your credit and get the crap out of here, or to move on to geometry. Okay? So our schedule is going to be different. That's why that's blank. But after we finish today, whatever we did today, I'm going to have you write it there under lesson, and then I'll go and fill in the rest when I score up your packets. Okay? Second rule of kindergarten. Did you actually put your name on it? Already got a few like, All right. Wait. Nope. There we go. So what this is a, we don't really have a textbook, because we're working out of a intervention curriculum that is specifically made for kids going into Algebra 2. Okay? When you're headed into Algebra 2, there are certain things that you need to know. They are the bare bones of Algebra 1, which makes it a really good curriculum for us, because this is the stuff that we have to know to move on. Oh, there we go. You go in that cover page where I'm going to write stuff. Y'all, our class, come on you. Our class is literally quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4. Okay? Like, we are taking our time. If you flip through this, you might notice that there's some pages that don't look like the rest. And that's where I've just thrown example extra practice in there, because I know those lessons typically take us an extra few days of practice. There might be days. What? Ahoy the ship. Okay. Yep. Go away. Um, where'd the bouncing ball go? There will be times, quite a few throughout the year, where we do something in class and then you come in and I ask for the whole Roman emperor thing. Y'all remember like Gladiator? He lives, he dies. You ever seen that? Like whether the guy kills his opponent or not. By the way, historically, we got that wrong. This means kill him. This means don't kill him. But in all the movies, this is let him live. This is get him. They got it all backwards. Okay. You may come in and I'll say, all right, before I put my daily quiz up here, I want to know, how do we feel about last class? And I'm looking for, I'm good. I'm a little fuzzy. Like I could probably use some more practice. I'm just not 100%. And I have no freaking clue what's going on. Okay. I just get that visual check from the room, vibe check. And there's going to be times where we do a thing and we come in, we're about to do a daily quiz. I check with the room, what's the temperature, how we feeling? And most of us say, nah, dude, this ain't it. In that case, that's where I have extra practice already built in here where I'll say, okay, then we're not doing daily quiz. I'm going to run through the assignment stuff that you did in class just to make sure that everyone's solid on it. I want you to flip the page to this other thing. I'm going to do like 4 or 5 examples out of that, and then you have this entire class to work, and you're working in groups. You're working with me and Miss Karen, and sometimes we might have one of the other teachers come in here, para, and it really is at your pace. Okay, that is the pacing. So that said, day 1 is all about some basic vocabulary because we're going to be referring back to this stuff non-stop throughout the year. So open it up. Round 1 is chapter 1, section 1. So much of what we do is based on properties. Okay, properties. And before we do properties, I don't know, find a corner of a page, find a scrap of paper, find the I don't know, the corner of your Starbucks mug wrapper, whatever it is. I would like you to tell me what's the answer. Figure it out. We call this Facebook math because you will get Aunt Kathy arguing with someone from 3 states over being just the meanest, nastiest person ever online because they're arguing about what the answer to this is on social media. Okay, argue with your neighbor. What do you think it is? I hear an 81. I hear a 1. What do we think? Like there are grown adults who will just trash talk each other over this problem. Like they'll get mean. Okay? How do you do it? Like how do you know? What is your thought process? Why did you do 3 times 9 first? Okay. So folks are probably remembering their training. Please execute my deranged adolescent sister. I had kids come up with their own long time ago, and that one stuck. Okay. So most of us remember that, and we're like, okay, multiplication before division. You say, why are we even talking about this? All right, this is a side quest. You're going to see this a lot. ADHD, go Bert. I'm saying this side quest here because it's related to the properties that we're about to learn. Properties are rules. Rules are what make things work or not work. In fact, there's things called algebraic structures, and they are defined by a set of rules. The only reason that math works is because there is rules to govern it. Think about if you've ever downloaded a kind of sketchy app on your phone and it glitches all the time, it crashes, it logs you out, it doesn't save your progress, whatever the thing is, right? Its rules have holes in them. There are two algebraic structures that you know of that have defined rules, and that's the properties we're about to talk about. They're addition and multiplication, not division and subtraction. Okay, this is a little bit of a trap. This is why people argue about this online. Is folks are going to say, well, that means I have to do multiply first because multiply is first on here. So I'll do 27 divided by 3 times 9 is 27. 27 divided by 27 is 1. Okay. There's another person who will say, well, divide is also that fraction bar, right? I can, like, even the division symbol looks like a fraction of number over number. So I could write it as 27 over 3 times 9, which in that case is still 27 over 27 is still 1. 1 isn't the right answer because division does not exist. You're like, what? Subtraction and division are not algebraic structures. They do not exist. They are a lie. We have been lying to you since 3rd grade. There is no such thing as subtraction. There is no such thing as division. You're like, dude, summer wasn't long enough. What? Because I don't really divide by 3. I multiply by 1/3. Remember, dividing by fractions is easy as pie. Flip the second and multiply. Okay. I don't really divide. I multiply by the reciprocal. Because multiplication is an algebraic structure that has rules. It is verified in the App Store instead of just I poked a thing and now my phone is like recording everything I send and yeah. Now if I do 27 times 1/3 or 27 divided by 3, I get 9 times 9. It is 81. Okay. I can't put the fraction bar on there because the fraction bar creates a set of parentheses. When I do this, I have implicitly put a set of parentheses. There aren't any parentheses up there. Stop adding stuff. Stop putting words in my mouth. Okay? So right next to this, right out of the get-go, before we even talk about the properties, I need you to add this because I know that caught some of us off guard. Since division is just multiply by the reciprocal, since 5 minus 2 isn't really a thing, we add a -2. Remember, add the opposite. Next to multiply divide, I want you to write left to right like a book. Next to addition subtraction, I want you to write left to right like a book. You do them in the order that you encounter them. Now, this wasn't to just start out with a, ha, gotcha. It's because you look at this very first page, and it's talking about all these different properties, and I know you've heard them before. But those properties are the rules that govern the program. They're the rules that all of math is built on. And we have to know what they're called because I might not put vocabulary on a test. All my tests are open notes, open everything. Why would I put vocabulary when you can just copy it? But you have to know the vocabulary because you don't know what the crap they're asking you to do if you don't understand the vocabulary. How many times have you gotten to a math problem and you're just, huh? because you can't even read the directions. Like, you don't know what they're asking. And then teacher or the parent comes along and says, oh, they want you to do X, Y, Z. You're like, why couldn't they just say that? Because they use the appropriate vocabulary. So when we talk about these properties, I want you to know the properties because that's the appropriate vocabulary that tells us what the crap we're even doing later. Okay? So if you got a corner of that very first page, section 1.1, there's usually a corner like bottom right underneath the vocabulary. I'd like you to just kind of put that old PEMDAS thing on there with that left to right business for multiply, divide, add, subtract, so that we don't get caught in it later. Because there we go. Oh, the PDF of this thing is also going to be very laggy because it's like 251 pages with built-in links. So Frank takes a while to think. It's like loading Windows 95. All right, start with commutative properties. Next to this, whether you're going to use a pen, a highlighter, cute little squiggles around it, something to set it off, I want you to write order doesn't matter. Okay? That's the commutative property. Think of it this way. It is 11 miles from my house to the school. Is it negative 11 miles from the school to my house? Every day I commute to the school and I commute home. The order in which I commuted doesn't change that it's still 11 miles. I can't drive the car in reverse and somehow make the odometer go backwards. Okay, they fixed that in the 70s. Now notice they give an example of addition and multiplication. If I take 12 plus 13 or 13 plus 12, it doesn't matter, it's still the same thing. You're going to hear me say that all year long. We're going to be in a problem and someone's going to ask, well, do I do it this way or this way? And I'm going to say, what's 5 plus 3? 8? Like you think it's a trap. Okay, what's 3 plus 5? Still 8. What property is that? The commutative property of addition. It's the rule that governs math. And you have to know what it looks like, what it sounds like, know its name. Okay? It's just like getting any form of vaccine. It's like holding a wanted poster up in front of your white cells and saying, yo, this guy, look out for him, beat his face in if you ever see him come around. Okay? This is front loading your information for the rest of the year. Same thing goes for multiplication. 6 and 12 or 12 and 6, doesn't matter, it's still going to give you the same answer. Okay, that is commutative property because the order does not matter. Below that, associative property. I guarantee that we got multiple kids in here who have heard and experienced the hard way the words guilty by association. I don't care if you threw the rock through the window, you were there. Guilty. Okay? Association. What does association mean? Like as a word, as an English term. A part of. A part of what? Whatever it's attached. Oh, I like that. I'm a part of the activity that's happening. I'm a part of the group that I'm talking about. Okay, association means they go together. So, see that these ones got parentheses on them. Parentheses say these go together. So next to associative properties, I want you to write grouping doesn't matter. All right. Grouping doesn't matter. Everyone's been in that awkward 3-person friend group where 2 of you start dating and the third one's just left there feeling weird. Okay? Well, it doesn't matter whether you 2 are dating or whether you 2 are dating or whether you 2 are dating. It doesn't matter. You're still the same group of 3, right? The grouping does not matter. Now, it might matter in terms of recreational activities, but in the case of math, it does not. Okay? Grouping does not matter. And they show you, if I add the 3 and the 6 first, 9 plus 7 is 16. But if I add the 6 and the 7 first, I get 13. 3 and 13 is still 16. The grouping did not matter. Guilty by association. You were there. I don't care who you were hanging out with at the time. You were there. Okay? Now, what gets kind of sketchy is when I start to combine multiplication and addition at the same time. And that, I'm going to skip down a little bit, is our distributive property. What are different ways that different things you called this in the before times? Like I've heard of some kids call it the rainbow thing. Oh yeah, it's the rainbow thing, or it's the arrow thing. Okay? A distributive property, you see those arrows. It's like mathematical Oprah. You get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car. You give everyone a car because, Frank, I'm going to beat you. Okay. Frank, catch up. Frank. Frank. Oh, we're going to fight. We're going to fight, Frank. Okay. It says, because there's addition or subtraction, which is a lie, it's really addition, in parentheses, and I'm multiplying the parentheses, I'm just going to multiply everything in there. Okay? It's like saying, well, if I have to double all of this stuff to make a new recipe, then why don't I just double the entire recipe? Okay? I double each part of it. Okay? You all know words are hard. You all know the distributive property, the arrow thing. I've heard a lot of kids call it. I can break them up individually, 12 and 16. Add them together is 28, versus if I had just combined by doing the order of operations, I still end up with the same answer. They're showing you that. Okay. Now, there was an Alex and an Alexis. I forget which one because there was also an Alexis. So which one are you? You're Alex. You're Alexis. Lexi. Did I write that down? Or were you just not here last time? Please tell me I wrote that down. I should have written that down. Huh. Okay, I'll fix that. Lexi. Okay, that would definitely help because her sister is Alexis. Who names twins Alex and Alexis? You should just slap your parents every Tuesday. Just slap them. Okay. So, Lexi, what's your name? Oh, hey, cool. It's almost like that's your identity. Okay. Identity is nothing will change. Are you free? Frank. Frank. Okay, my smartboard is named Frank because I had a senior years ago in pre-algebra for the 4th year running. His name was Frank. Suffice to say, he was not the most cooperative or intelligent person. Henceforth, my smart board shall be known as Frank because it is neither cooperative nor intelligent. Identity of addition, identity of multiplication is what can I do to this number that doesn't change its value? You know, like the 90s makeover shows, you know, they get all dressed up and they go to prom and they walk down the stairs and they make a spoof movie out of it, right? The addition identity property says, what can I add to a thing that doesn't change it? I can add 0. The multiplication identity is 1. What can I multiply anything by to get itself? Okay? So all of these are different names, and they do specify addition or multiplication. Next to it, Frank, not responding. Yeah, I know, Frank, and I'll beat your face in. I want you to add one to this page. It is not written on there, and it is a special one. It is called the 0 property of multiplication. It's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. I think you all know it. You just didn't know that it had an official title. What happens to anything when I multiply it by 0? I get 0. Okay, if I write it in algebraic keys, it's just a times 0 is 0. All right, so they don't have that one on there, but we should just know that. All right, so that whole first page is just a whole bunch of properties. It's a bunch of names. And we're going easy on you because summer Alzheimer's is a thing. Your first lesson is just, do you know vocabulary? Okay? Because we got a lot of summer rust to get off of there. And Frank being an absolute tool up here is definitely not helping the matter. So, this is how our entire curriculum is set up, where it's going to be 100% worked out. An example to follow. Right next to it is going to be the one that we do together. We're going to do a little bit of that, and then you try them. And then we do a little bit of that, and then you try them. We do a little bit of that, and you try them, and then we're done. That's it. That is each lesson. Okay? So, over here, they start with name the property illustrated, and they have 3 by 2 by 5, 3 by 2 by 5. You notice that here, the order did not change. What did change? From here to here. Okay, the parentheses, which is the grouping. So I go back to that front page. The front page says grouping doesn't matter under associative. So I say that it is the associative property, and specifically because the grouping was moving around multiplication signs, I'll say it's the associative property of multiplication. Now, teens are notoriously, shall we say, effort conservationists when it comes to writing things out. No, please don't do that. Because there's going to be some kid who tries to do that. Now, I can say, Frank, would that work? Associative property of multiplication? Just so you don't have to write so much. Okay? I'm the same way. I don't like writing stuff out. Mathematicians notoriously like using symbols and abbreviations because we don't want to. All right? So same thing over here. I want you to look at the left, look at the right, and tell me what changed. What? To go from the left to the right, what changed? Before even number 1. What changed to go from this side to this side? Frank, keep up. Okay. What changed? There's no parentheses. So I know it's not the associative one, because the associative one involves parentheses and grouping. What did change? It's going to be something of addition, something property of addition, 12 plus 17 versus 17 plus 12. The order changed. They changed the order. You go to the front. Where do I change the order with addition? Commutative property of addition. Okay, so that's it. Like, that's genuinely your answer. Commutative property of addition. But before that, we just got to make sure that it's even a true statement, because sometimes they'll throw us a curveball. They'll give me something that isn't equal. It isn't true. They're lying. Then you have to say there is no property demonstrated. It's an inequivalent expression. So what is 12 plus 17? Yeah. Okay, for everyone who is just like, yo, mental math before lunch, no, this ain't happening. Then don't. It's a math class. Why don't you have a calculator by you? Okay? I guarantee that you have been in a math class before where you got yelled at because you couldn't do it in your head. That's dumb. That imparts trauma on you, because then you just feel like less of a person because you can't do the thing the way that other people do the thing. Get a calculator next to you and use your tools. Y'all, I'm the math teacher. My IQ's like 2 points shy of genius. I'm smart. I will still count on my fingers. Okay? Use your tools. As long as you're not screwing around on TikTok when we're supposed to be doing math, use your phone calculator for all I care. Use your tools. If you don't know off the top of your head, if you can't do 12 plus 17 in your head, then just poke the buttons and tell me. Okay? I will never get mad at you for using the tools that you're supposed to use. If I plugged in 17 plus 12 instead, it should come out the same, right? That's all they're asking us to do here, is just verify that it works. So I'll say the numbers, or they actually want us to use the word add-ins. Frank is just being laggy as all. I got to go talk to the tech office this afternoon because this thing is having problems. But the sums are the same. See, and I'm all worked up about Frank being dumb up here that I'm spelling things wrong. Okay. Okay. Add-ins has double D. So, that's it. Like, that's what this first section is about, is making sure you understand the vocabulary and that you can do a little bit of order of operations work to prove that the vocabulary is true. So, scroll on down below that. They have example 2. They give you another example of swear if you say not responding again, I'll put a hole through you. Okay. So example 1 is just, hey, I can look at the front page and I can tell you what property this is. Example 2 is, I remember how distributive property works. If I see 5 smashed up on parentheses, okay, and tell you the same way that I was told 25 years ago, because it stuck with me. Whenever you see a number smashed up against something else, okay, this is where you get the Killian giggle. Whenever something is smashed up against something else, what are they doing? Like rabbits and hormonal teenagers. They multiply. Okay? When I have 5 smashed up on parentheses, I know there's multiplication in there. I just don't write the symbol. But I know that you get a 5 and you get a 5. We multiply everyone inside. Okay? So this isn't 12 plus 3, then times 5. It's 5 times the 12 and 5 times the 3. That lag is driving me so nuts. Okay? So they just want to verify that this actually works. Make sure that this is true. Make sure that 5 by 12, when added to 5 by 3, is the same as 5 times, what is 12 plus 3? 15? Okay, what's 5 by 12? Right? A clock. 12 5-minute increments is 60 minutes. And 5 by 3 is? So now I just got to check. 60 plus 15 is what? 5 times 15 is what? Are they the same? Grab a calculator. Use the calculator. I don't care. I want you to. Okay? We should end up with 75 both times. Okay, that is the distributive property. You get a car, you get a car, you get a car. Slow down there, Oprah. Everyone doesn't need a car. Okay? So, lesson 1. Basic vocabulary in a really fritzy smartboard. That is not smart. One and 2. Tell me what property that is. Fill in the blank. Tell me what it should equal. Tell me what property it is. To know what property it is, all you got to do is flip back to that first page and see which of those things does it look like. Or the first page of the lesson, I should say. It would be page 4 of the packet. What is 12 by 13? What is 19 by 1? What properties are they showing you? And when it comes time to do this, when I say, okay, I showed you a thing, now I want you to, I don't want it dead quiet in here. The room is set up like a Senate chamber for a reason. I want you talking to your neighbor. I want you checking your answer with someone else. Did you say the blank property of what? Okay, you have to say the blank property of what operation. Check with your neighbor. Make sure you're getting the same thing. Okay. Is the order changing or is the grouping changing? Is nothing changing, so it's an identity? Did they combine addition with multiplication? Was it distributive? Okay, round 1. 13 by 12 is 156, so what should 12 by 13 be? Also 156. What changed? The order. So I go back to that first page and I say, all right, what says the order doesn't matter with multiplying? And you can shorthand it and say commutative property of multiplication. The next one, 19 by 1 is, okay, and I say, yep. What doesn't change its identity? The identity, in fact, I'd probably just shorthand that to ID times. Identity, property, multiplication. Okay. So I do a thing, you do a thing, and then you notice it moves down to number 3, and it says step-by-step practice. Again, they're working us through stuff. 14 plus 16 plus 11, 16 plus 11 plus 14. Oh, wait a second. What changed? Well, they're both plus, plus, plus. From the left side to the right side, what changed? The order or the grouping? The order. They're throwing you a curveball. Normally we see parentheses and we're like, oh, it's associative, because associative does parentheses. But see how they kept 16 plus 11 together both times? What this is really doing is saying 14 plus 27 is 27 plus 14. They kept the 16 and the 11 together. So it wasn't the grouping that changed. Just because it had parentheses, don't assume. They changed the order on us. So I'd say the terms or the addends. You know what? I'll just say terms. Terms is nice. The terms are grouped in the same way, but the order has changed. What is 14 plus 27? So close to the meaning of life. Okay, so I get 41 equals 41. Which property is that? Which property says the order I add things in doesn't matter? Of. Okay, you have to put that qualifier on there. Commutative of addition. Okay, down below that, you got a couple of extra problems. I do some, you do some. Pay real close attention. Are they trying to trip you up? 4, 5, 6, and 7. If you would please, name the property and do the distribution thing. Go! If you're not sure, ask. Okay? You got 2 teachers in here. There ain't going to be homework. It's practice. It will not get easier than this. This is how you get your algebra credit. The alternative is someone throws you on a computer and lets you figure it out yourself. Okay. Yeah. Said as long as you're attending to your responsibilities and you're not disappearing for 15, 20 minutes during the middle of class, you don't need to ask, just go. Yeah. No? You're potty trained, right? Then yeah. Okay. What I do recommend is that folks leave their phones so that they don't end up sitting in the stall dinking around on TikTok or watching Netflix. You have Android or iPhone? I have things that I could show you. Like in its software code, it logs your keystrokes, including all your passwords for everything you ever touch. TikTok will steal more of your life and identity than any other app in existence right now. How you doing, bud?
I'm struggling. I don't know if it was an asthma attack or a panic attack, but it's caused pain. So
Okay.
I'll watch the video. I already know everything.
Okay.
The only reason I failed it last year is because kind of got kicked in the nuggets last year. So
Yeah. Okay. I want you to. Okay. Do not be afraid to ask. Do not be afraid to check. Y'all do that Alabama math. Break out the fingers and toes to count for all I care. Yo. How ripped?
If you taped it together, he needs.
It's like you gotta tape it together.
Nice. You gotta tape it.
Line up the edges, tape it. I don't care. You know that you can bring that to any bank and they will give you a fresh one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tape is over there next to the calculators. Okay. Fairly quick, right? What's 14 plus 8? Is it 32 or 22? I heard both. 22. Press the buttons on the calculator. Make sure. Okay. So I got 22 by is 22. Has the order changed? Uh-huh. So which property is that? Of addition. I like putting that. Okay. Then you double check. 8 plus 1 plus 4. 8 plus 1 plus 4. So the order didn't change, but the grouping changed. So if the grouping changes with addition, I call it the what? Associative property, and you make sure to put that qualifier on there again, associative of addition. Okay. Downstairs, 6 and 7. The disturbert property. 2 by 12 is 24. 2 by 4 is 8. And add them together is 32. Well, what if I did 12 plus 4 first? What's 12 plus 4? What's 16 times 2? Still 32, right? That's our distributive property. It still works. Same thing over here. 6 by 1 is 6. 6 by 10 is 60. 60 plus 6 is order 66. Okay.
Would it matter if we did the addition first, like the 1 plus 10 times 6, or?
If you're showing the distributive property, yes. If you're just evaluating the expression and it doesn't have anything about distributive property in the directions, do whatever you want. It's all about the directions, right? You've probably been in a class where you did the thing using correct math law, but because you didn't do it the exact way that the teacher does it, they got mad at you and said, no, you have to do it my way. Like 1994, Damon Wayans with a sock full of quarters. Homie, don't play that. Okay? I will not force you to do it a certain way as long as you're following the directions. All right? Just realize I need to stop making 90s references because y'all didn't exist. So, I feel older every year. It hurts my soul. Okay? Flip it over and you got the marble thing. Okay? Now, the marbles. This is word problem practice. Y'all, I want you to not be afraid of word problems because 90% of the word problems you're going to do in this class, blah, 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 do what you just did. They are literally do exactly what you just did, except now there's some context to it. But also, I spend several different lessons in this class going through how to dissect, how to diagram a sentence and turn it into mathese. There's a algorithmic code to it. There's this word means this. This word means this. Oh, wait, that just says 5x minus 2. Okay? We'll go through a lot more of it. Frank, I told you to, okay. So, Brittany gonna solve, why are you selling marbles? Like, what kind of 1962 example is this? Oh, I mean, legit marbles, right? So 4 bags of marbles, 12 each, versus 12 bags of marbles with 4 each. What are you doing with those 12s and 4s? Okay, I switched order. So right out of the gate, I'm switching order. What does that mean? Which property? Okay. And because 4 bags of 12 or 12 bags of 4 is a grouping term, it is multiplication. So I've got 4 by 12 versus 12 by 4. Yes, they both be 48. No matter what, I got 48 marbles. I'm just going to say on here, that's commutative property of multiplication. Right below this, you see where it says skills, concepts, and problem solving. That means we're almost there. Got to double check something here. Yeah. Whenever we hit that part of the lesson where it's got like a little play symbol, that means the lesson's already over. Flip the page. You see down at the bottom of the page, it's got a little stop sign. You have 31 minutes to finish that. That's your assignment. That's it. That's it. That's lesson 1 and your assignment. No homework. Get it done in class now. You got 30 minutes. Answer the questions. Well, yes, you finish. This is your assignment. This is your homework. It's right here in the packet. Okay? Now, see how it says 16 times blank equals blank? But what does it say above that? So what goes in there for the identity property? 16 times what is the identity? 1. And 16 times 1 is 16. There you go. You demonstrated the identity property. Okay? Dang, dude. All right. I mean, if you just ask, we can make change. But if you're just hungry. All right.